Let us have a moment. Grant us, we ask, to speak, to hear, and to learn, so that our fears may be banished, our minds may become enlightened, our faith be increased, and our steps directed towards you. I have an extraordinarily uplifting Scottish proverb for you as we begin. Be happy while you're living, for you're a long time dead. Let me try that one. It's not an uplifting way to begin. If any of you watching out there, you're probably wondering, why have they hired this man? Be happy while you're living, for you're a long time dead. A Scots proverb. So I looked at some statistics about death, and I looked to see how long we live and life expectancy compared to the rest of the planet. This may come as a big surprise to you all. You've all heard of Albania? Yeah. Albania is a very small, rural country next to Italy. Everybody forgets it. That's who we equal in terms of life expectancy. Yes, you heard that. Albania. Right up there with Croatia. We are that far down the list. We're not even in the top 10. Guess who's in the top number one? Anybody want to take a guess?
Norway.
No. Japan. Yes. 87 years is the average life expectancy. Switzerland is number 2. Singapore number 3. Australia number 4. Spain number 5. Iceland number 6. Italy number 7. Israel number 8. Sweden number 9.
Where's England?
England is a long way away. England is number 20. Given these lovely delights, we are, in this exceptional country, number 37, tied with Albania. Many of you out there watching this from Albania, I love Albania, very nice. It's kind of interesting to see we're tied with you all. I looked at to see what the number one reasons why people who are older die, and I don't think they surprise anybody. Heart disease is number 1, cancer is number 2, a stroke is number 3, chronic obsessive pulmonary disease is number 4, and influenza is number 5. And let me say, I sent out a letter with not a letter, but comments with the weekly this week. Remember, there are brand new shingle shots. They are free. You need to get them. Okay. There is a new pneumonia supplement. You need to get that, and flu shots. The pneumonia is covered by everybody's insurance or Medicare. If you haven't had shingles, and you can be young and get shingles. One of our younger members got shingles, so this is something you don't want to get. It's a brand new, it's a dead virus, and is highly, highly, highly recommended. It comes in 2 shots. You get one, there 2 months later. What surprised me, however, was the number of people who pass in this country that are young. The Associated Press reports deaths amongst younger and middle-aged individuals, particularly between 24 and 44, have outsized expectations. We're seeing the drop in life expectancy not because we've hit a cap with being older, but because of the lifespan of people who are dying in their 20s and 30s. Overdose epidemic has wrought the most devastation in many parts of our country. Now, if you want to know something about young people from 22 to 44, these are the top reasons why people die. 41% of people between ages 15 and 24 die from accidents. Suicide accounts for 18%. Obviously, we are failing our young people tremendously. They've given up any sense of hope. We're not helping them in bullying in school. We say we are. We're doing nothing about it. There's things all the time about people being bullied. Homicide is number 3. Drugs and alcohol, number 4. And cancer is number 5. So I looked at that, and I got to thinking about what do we learn from living and dying? And one of the things that we see a lot of today is we see self-help, people offering help. And Odalis and some others are very, very good at keeping me up with self-help gurus, because with all the things I do with teaching and stuff, I need help from people. And Odalis and some others send me stuff so they keep me up to date. But I also thought there's another group that we do not listen to that are there for us. And it just so happens, is one of those coincidences, I was preparing for this, and I came across a couple of articles. Now, I know many of you have heard of The Guardian, probably the most trusted newspaper in the United Kingdom, and lots of people in the United States get it. Susie Steiner said we ought to listen to the elderly and what they recommend about how we ought to live. Some comments they have as they are approaching long lives. And I thought, yeah, here is a ready-made resource. And nobody ever pays attention to the elderly. Now, some of you may be thinking, Kenneth, aren't you elderly? Bad things will happen to you if you're thinking that. Your truth is annoying. All right, anyway, as I said, these I thought were really good. Now, Greg Bowe, who used to be my chairman in composition, said to me, you know, when you give a list, if people can remember one thing, that's good. So I have a couple of things here that came up from The Guardian. If you can remember one of these to kind of mull over, let it twist in your mind for a moment. Number one, I wish I'd had the courage to live a true life to myself and not the life others expected of me. Does that ring a bell to everybody? What everybody else wanted you to do, but what did you really want to do? And I see it all the time with my students. My parents want me to do this, but that's not what I want to do. And I don't know how many of you had that happen. My parents gave up with me. Yes, I had an appointment to the Air Force Academy, believe it or not. I had a pre-law scholarship, and of course I went into the one field that has no money at all. For those out there, you need to know that though there are ministers who live in $11 million mansions, that would not be me or anybody I know. What do you want to do with who you are? Are you doing it for you or for somebody else? That's a big question. That is a really big question. Number two, I love this. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Now, let me tell you the problems when you become a workaholic, being one. When you have time off, you don't know what to do with yourself. Has anybody ever had that problem here? You're so used to working that when you have some free time, you get, oh, okay, there's only one other person who has that problem. I don't like any of you. You can all go home now. It's really annoying, by the way, that when you work all the time and you get into that, and then you have some time off, you're like, there's this thing, I need to be doing something. Like the other day, I had an afternoon off, and I thought, oh, I have an afternoon off. Oh. And I thought, oh, I can just do nothing. I thought, isn't that lovely? And the other part of my brain says, no, it's not. And I'm thinking, where did that come from?
Your inner Puritan.
Yes, and I'm not even a Puritan then, but somewhere it got stuck in there. Number three, and I think you that are younger here are really good at this. This may be a generational thing. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I think if what I'm seeing now, and I read in the front page of the New York Times this morning, we got bullied by our present administration. If you don't do it that way, that's it. But what has happened is the State Department, real people in the State Department, have fed our real feelings are telling us this is wrong. And we're going to stick up and say what's really on our mind. Nobody ever does that anymore. And they put careers on the line, their lives on the line to speak the truth. And that was a classic example. Do you really speak the truth? They said something was wrong here, and we're not going to be bullied and pushed off to the sideline. We're going to tell you something was wrong, and we're going to share that. And I'm speaking the real feelings. Other times, feelings in relationships. I talked to my students this week. We're talking about those people who are afraid of the unknown. We're talking about the Exodus. I said, you realize the Exodus did not take place on the scale they mentioned. In the Bible, it says 660,000 people, men. I said, you had women and children. I said, that's about 2 million. I said, you know that's not going to happen. I said, why? Because most people are terribly afraid of stepping out into the unknown. I said, let me ask you, how many of you have friends of yours that are in relationships that are awful, but they're afraid to get out of them? Everybody raise their hand. These are 18 and 19-year-olds. They already see this. And I said, people are scared to death to get out of something toxic for something that's new. Because you got to start all over again, and that can be scary as stuff. I said, as bad as being in Egypt was, who wants to go out to the desert. I said, did you ever think of what comes out at night that's in the desert? We all had a big laugh. I said, you look at the Discovery Channel. It's all sand during the day. The night comes out. All these things come out. Like, where do these things come from? Do you ever see a picture of the Discovery Channel? They put the lights on and all these things are out there. Huge spiders, huge snakes of all kinds. Like, where have you been? And so stay there. And nobody wants to leave what's known. So I said, if there was an exodus, it involved a few people who followed a charismatic individual, but most people are going to stay put. Am I not right? And so when you're talking about, do I express my feelings too often? We're afraid if we express our feelings, somebody's going to get hurt. But sometimes you have to say what's on your mind for your own health. And if you have good friends, they're going to understand that maybe you're trying to help them too. Number 4, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I don't know how you good are at staying in touch with your friends. I don't know if that fits to you. I don't know how good any of you are, but that seems to be something that crops up again and again and again that I've read. Staying in touch with our friends. We're lucky if we have a few friends. Mm-hmm. We really, really are. You all, by the way, tell my students this when they have to do writing and stuff. I said, you're all going to find one of those things that's going to happen to you. And it happens to everybody. If it hasn't happened yet, I've got delightful news for you. It will. I said, you're going to hit a disaster. Some socially awkward or totally embarrassing moment. It will be absolutely horrible. It will be spectacular. It will be awesomely bad. And all these people will leave you, except 1 or 2. And you're going to be dumbfounded that all these so-called friends of yours deserted the ship just like that. I said, that's the bad news. The good news is it happens to everybody. That's not helpful. One of my students said, that's not helpful. I said, it's the way it is. And I said, so if you've got a couple of friends, it's nice to keep them close. And number 5 is, and I thought this is lovely, I wish I had let myself be happy. And I think that's brilliant. I think there are times when we all wish we let go. Which brings me back to that quote, be happy while you live because you're a long time dead. But if you can remember one of these, from those who are departed, just before they've departed, Susie Steiner in the Guardian pointed, these are things that cropped up again and again and again. Let's just listen to the wisdom of those who lived into an old age. I wish I had the courage to live a true life to myself, not the life that others expected. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And I wish I let myself be happy. Some real stuff from real people who lived it all. For that, I hope we're all deeply grateful. Amen.
Amen.